welcome back to my channel. My name's Kaylee and these are my books. Today's video is actually a booktube tag about romance books, which is very exciting. I was tagged by my friend Kitty from Spicy Cats. Her channel will be linked below. And this is basically a this or that tag based on romance book tropes or just elements of different romance books. Romance books are definitely my go-to books when I don't know what to read, because I always will enjoy a romance book. They just are always so heartwarming, easy to read, so quick, and I have a lot of love for the romance genre. I actually only started reading romance books in the last 2 years, which might be kind of surprising for people who watch my videos. I used to only read fantasy, but I relatively recently discovered romance, and I'm so happy I did. The first question is cliffhanger or happily ever after ending, and definitely happily ever after ending for me. Cliffhangers annoy me. It's not like I will immediately dislike the book if it has a cliffhanger, but they do annoy me. I have to really like the whole book for me to look past the cliffhanger. An example of a cliffhanger book that I did enjoy is Hate by Tate James, but typically I need a happily ever after. I want the immediate gratification and satisfaction of having read the romance book and having known everything about that couple's story just in one book. I will say though that I do love fantasy romance, and a lot of fantasy romance, the couple kind of spans multiple books because of the bigger fantasy plot. I'm okay with that, but if the main plot is just the romance, I really need that to be wrapped up in one book with a happily ever after. Question 2 is hardcover or paperback. Definitely hardcover. I love hardcovers. They look so much nicer on shelves. They just feel nicer. They feel fancier. I love hardcovers. I do like floppy paperbacks, and so it's not like I dislike paperbacks. I just like hardcovers more. The next question is angsty or cute. I need both. I need some angst and I need some cuteness in all of my romances. If it's only cute, I feel like I'm not as emotionally invested, and if it's only angsty, I get annoyed. So I need a good mix of angst and cute. So for this question, I'm cheating and saying both. The next question is emotional or rom-com. And for emotional, I'm interpreting that as a rom-dram, like a romantic drama, and not necessarily like a dark romance. And therefore, I'm gonna go with the rom-com option, the romantic comedy, because I'm not a huge fan of romances that are super emotional. I do like dark romances that are emotional, but at the end of the day, I want my romances to be fun. And rom-coms are more fun than just something that's gonna make me cry the whole way through. The next question is book talk or bookstagram. This is hard because while I do have a bookstagram, I don't really use it in the typical way. Like, I really just use bookstagram to chat with people, and I don't really care about posting. I mean, my friends' posts are cool on there, but it's not like a place I go to for recommendations. While book talk, I don't really use that much either. It does occasionally pop up on my For You page, and I have gotten some cool recommendations for Kindle Unlimited romances, especially from Book Talk. So if I have to choose between Book Talk and Bookstagram, I'm actually going to say Book Talk, but I don't really use either. Like 99% of the recommendations that I get, 99% of the book content that I consume is through BookTube. So my answer is none of the above. I like BookTube more, but between the two, I guess Book Talk. Teddy is struggling. The next question is people on the cover or objects on the cover, and I definitely prefer objects on the cover. Now, I don't hate people on the cover, but the thing about people on the cover is I like to imagine what they look like on my own based off of the descriptions. And so if there's a person on the cover, I don't like that that's who the character is supposed to look like, if that makes sense. I'm okay with cartoon covers, because typically they're abstract enough where I can fill in details in my mind. But if it's a real person, usually the real person never lives up to what I'm imagining in my head. Because if someone is described as the most attractive man ever, no human is going to live up to what is in my head. So I definitely prefer objects on the cover, and I think objects on the cover allows the covers to be a bit more artistic, a bit more creative, a bit more symbolic, and it's fun then to read the whole book and then go back to the cover and see what clues you can pick up on, what objects on the cover mean for the story itself. The next question is new release or backlist, and as I said at the beginning of this video, I feel like I'm playing catch up in the romance genre because I only recently started reading romance, and therefore I'm gonna go with backlist because there's so many amazing books, so many well-loved series that I still need to read. So definitely backlist. The next question is TBR or free-for-all. Definitely TBR. I have to plan out my reading because I can't make decisions. I am terrible at making decisions, so if I don't have a planned TBR when I finish the book that I'm reading, I will just not read a book for a whole week because I can't decide on what book to read next. I just have way too many options. I own way too many books that I haven't read yet. There are way too many books on Kindle that I need to read, and therefore I get overwhelmed. So that's why I love planning big TBRs, so I always have a book on my list that I can go to next. The next question is Open Door or Fade to Black. Definitely Open Door. 1000% Open Door. I think Fade to Black is dumb, and I don't like romances with Fade to Black. I need an open door for me to care. I need to see the physical connection that they have to go along with the emotional connection, and therefore I can fully understand the couple. If I don't see that physical connection, I'm only getting half of the couple's intimacy. Next is audio or physical in terms of how I consume reading or how I prefer to consume reading, and this is the hardest question on this list. I love audiobooks and I love physical books. As you can see, I love physical books. But a lot of the books I end up reading are through audio. Oh my god, I can't make this decision. Both, audio and physical. I was going to try to force myself to choose one, but I can't. It's like choosing between my children. I can't do that. Not even for this video, I'm sorry, both. The next question is Kindle or no Kindle. Definitely Kindle. I read so many books on Kindle Unlimited. Listen, I hate Amazon. I think it's a shitty company. I think they're very immoral. I don't like what they do, but Kindle Unlimited is amazing. There are so many amazing books on there. The monthly price is so low and you get access to a million fantastic titles. So definitely Kindle. I love Kindle Unlimited. It's amazing. It's literally amazing. Kindle Unlimited, I can't speak enough high praise about. Question 12 is buddy read or fly solo. I love buddy reads. I think that's one of the coolest parts about BookTube is being able to read books with other people and chat about books with other people. But I have a very loose definition of what I consider a buddy read. Like, if you're reading a book around the same time as I read that book, I just like to stay updated on how you're feeling, or vice versa. If I know you recently read this book and therefore you remember the book, it's fresh in your mind, I'm going to message you about all my thoughts along the way. So I consider that buddy reading for sure. So I like buddy reading a lot, and I would prefer to do buddy read every single one of my books, but I don't want every single one of my reads to feel constrained with daily page limits, if that makes sense. So buddy read with a loose definition of what buddy reading is. The next question is small town or dark romance, and 1000% dark romance. I love dark romance. Dark romance is my favorite type of romance. I like light, fluffy romance as well, but if I had to choose between the two, 1000% dark romance. The next question is alpha or sweet in terms of a male protagonist in these stories. This is my toxic side coming out, but definitely alpha. I don't like sweet men in romances. I just don't. The next question is multiple books at once or one book at once. While I do read multiple books at once across all genres, for romance specifically, which I think that's what this question is referring to, I really only read one romance at once. I don't like to read multiple books within the same genre at once because sometimes I get a little bit confused. So for romance books, one at a time. And the next question is a baddie or a damsel in distress. And I definitely prefer baddies. I mean, that's the same. Like, I prefer alphas and I prefer baddies. I just want my people in these stories to be badass across the board, you know? However, damsel in distress for women annoys me a little bit less than sweet men do in romance, because I kind of identify with the damsel in distress trope, because I'm like thinking, especially because I read so many dark romances, if all this terrible stuff was happening, I would be a mess. I would not be a baddie. I would be useless, absolutely useless in these scenarios. And so when a girl has the damsel in distress trope in romance books, I'm always like, I can't hate her because that's how I would be. I would just be frozen in fear and needing everyone to like deal with the monsters around me because I'm terrified. I can't do that. I can't do these things. So while I prefer reading about a baddie, I don't hate damsel in distress within these dark romance books. And the last question is slow burn or insta love. And I definitely prefer slow burn because my favorite part about romance books is the tension. The tension is delicious. And so I need that tension to build and build and build and build until we get to the release of the tension. So if there's insta love, I feel like there's not enough tension for me. There are books with insta love that do work for me, so it's not an immediate turn off for me within the romance genre, but if I could choose, I would want every book to be slow burn. That is the end of this tag, and my AC just turned on, unfortunately, so I'm gonna quickly wrap this up. If you want to do this tag, consider yourself tagged. I'm not going to tag individual accounts. Just if you see this video and you want to do it, please do it. If you don't have a YouTube channel and you still want to do this tag, do it down in my comments. I want to see your answers for all of these questions. The questions that I answered will be in the description of this video. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to give me a like and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you next time. Bye!